Sean Hook's Newsmaker Saturday starts now.
Thanks for joining us for Newsmaker Saturday. We are entering a major election year, presidential preference election March 19th of next year, primaries in August, and then, of course, the main event, the presidential election, November 5th, 2024. I know that no one has circled that on their calendar, but I'm just reminding you anyway. Adrian Fontes is Arizona's Secretary of State, elected last November. And before that, of course, he was the county recorder. Pleased to be joined by Adrian Fontes to the program. It's good to see you.
Thanks for having me again.
You got a busy year.
We are very busy already.
And these elections I mentioned, that's only a piece of it. You've got stuff coming up this November.
Well, we've actually got ballots in the mail across Arizona right now, small jurisdictional and municipal elections all over the Grand Canyon state. So we're already working.
Okay, so you guys, of course, you were the Maricopa County recorder. Would you say this next year, that is the first really big test for you as Secretary of State?
Well, as Secretary of State, yes, it is, but it's not the first really big test because we have a system in Arizona where we're a bottom-up system. So really, as Secretary of State, the Secretary doesn't run elections.
Right.
The Secretary doesn't touch ballots or do ballot design, doesn't hire poll workers or get polling places. The Secretary is like the commissioner of the NFL. Okay, we establish the rules, we tell the teams how big the field's going to be, what the rules are for, they get to call the plays, they get to pick the uniform colors and all that stuff. So we've built a team of folks from that world so that we can kind of help everybody that needs help across the state of Arizona. So it's a different kind of job. It's definitely in the same universe.
It really comes down to county by county, and one of the fallouts of 2020 is that I think in 12 of 15 counties, those counties have lost one or two of the top elections officials in their county. People are leaving this discipline in droves.
Yeah, and it's a really bad thing for voters because in a space where we depend on experience, we depend on that know-how, we depend on, oh yeah, a couple cycles ago this happened, here's the solution, or we tried that once and that doesn't work. That's important in this world because you only get one shot. The calendar doesn't move, and election day is just one day. So, you know, it's a bummer. 12 of our 15 counties have lost a senior election official. And that accounts for 98% of our voters in Arizona are going to have a lower level of experience administering their elections. So what we're hoping folks will do is understand that election administration is a human endeavor. These are just regular people. The notion that they should be threatened or harassed to the point where they're leaving work, that's just anti-American. It doesn't help anybody.
Have you dealt with this as well?
Oh, absolutely. I testified before Congress about the threats myself and my family endured. And, you know, we've got some stories of very stalwart Republican election officials also getting threatened. It's not civil. It's not the American way to go. Political violence or threats of political violence, that's something that's supposed to happen in other countries. We're supposed to be the good guys across the board and have political disagreements. But generally speaking, I think this type of behavior is just antithetical to the American ethos.
Do you feel, we're nearly 4 years removed from 2020, do you feel like that's now in the rear view, or is it still something that every day you're thinking about, that there is still mistrust, distrust, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of folks who are still lingering on 2020, and they need to get over it. You know, it is what it is. It's past. It's as if these folks never played organized sports when they were kids, right? You win, you lose, it doesn't matter. Try harder next time, and there's always a next time. It's this poor sportsmanship that's got to have been somebody else's fault. It's not my candidate who wasn't the choice of the majority. It's not, you know, bad politicking or whatever. They try to blame somebody else instead of taking a little responsibility on themselves and their folks. And it's lingering and lingering, and it's making it harder and harder for us to maintain the democracy that upholds our federal republic. That's the danger here. If we continue with the conspiracies and the lies, it's just going to continue to erode trust.
So you would tell people to move on with it, get on with it?
I wouldn't just tell people to move on with it and get on with it. I would tell people to sit and think about what you're saying, not about elected officials like me. I've got thick skin. I take criticism all the time. But think about the folks that are actually doing the hands-on work. The folks in the vote centers, you know, those retired teachers and cops, those people who actually run our elections, that's who you're saying cheated. That's who you're saying lied. These are your neighbors. These are your friends. This isn't some amorphous cabal of, folks. So we got to be real about the world that we live in, and we've got to at least agree on facts. Once we get there, all the political disagreements can happen.
The latest poll that I saw, and I think it was Chuck Coughlin's group that did it, it was a few months ago, said that 89% of Democrats in Arizona think elections are fair and secure. 68% of independents think that. 65% of Republicans feel that way. And then only 54% of Republicans believe elections are secure. That strikes me as still a major problem. When you've got, that's a big chunk. You got a third, not with Democrats, but when you get down to independents, 68% feel that their elections are fair and secure. 65% of Republicans feel that way.
Yeah.
You got a big chunk that still are not sure.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
Well,
is there anything you can say to them?
It's not a question of what I can say to them. It's a question of the way they choose to look at the world. I mean, this is, in my view, this is a failure of leadership. Because there's a lot of Republicans out there, Republican leaders, who don't agree with the conspiracy theories behind closed doors. But they're afraid of a political loss. They're afraid that really loud minority among their party isn't going to reelect them if they buck the fashionable trend. And that's what really this is. It's a fashionable trend. Because there's no real evidence of any fraud or I mean, look, number one example, my former opponent, Mr. Fincham, said that he was carrying a binder of evidence on January 6th to his federal representatives. He said that in a debate. But that binder has never surfaced, and there is no evidence of any wrongdoing. And in America, it is the accuser who is burdened with bringing the evidence. It is the accuser who has to do it. That's the fair American way to do things. So what I would ask folks who still doubt, and there are plenty who do, and that's okay. You can have legitimate questions. You can have inquiries about systems. But once those are reasonably satisfied, it is time to accept that the folks who are operating in this area are operating in good faith. It is a bipartisan set of folks, many of whom, once they become familiar with the systems, come around and away from these conspiracy theories and accusations.
How hard is it to fix an election?
Oh, man. The checks and balances that are involved all the way through the system are so complex and complete that you would have to have it would take a state actor with an enormous amount of time and energy and money and planning and absolute infiltration. I don't know that it's actually possible.
You think the system is very, very secure?
I think it is as secure as we can make it right now, given the resources that we have, which means it's very secure. But I wouldn't ever say it's 100%, because, look, part of the threat profile that we're looking at is state actors. China's after us. North Korea's after us. Iran is after us.
But nobody can get into the computers in Arizona. Is that correct?
Well, the computers that deal with, actually scan the ballots, not only are they not connected to the internet, but they have this sort of unidirectional flow of information. So the ballot maybe goes into this tabulator, and that information on a USB drive goes to this server. That information then, if there's an adjudication that happens, that's a closed-loop system, for example, in Maricopa County, inside of a secure facility. And then they take the results and they sneaker net, basically take it over to a computer that's connected to the internet. It's a unidirectional flow of information. There's never any backwash. So for folks to say, oh, this was injected here, that was injected there, the checks and balances that we have, and that's a very simplified model that I just explained, but we have...
And there's also a Republican, Democrat, and Independent who's watching over.
There's always multiple members of each of the parties who are at each of these sections watching these things happening. And I challenge folks, talk to the people that have actually watched this stuff happen. Talk to the folks who work the elections. You know, talk to your local election officials and listen to what they have to say. And here's the biggest disappointment, John, and give me a second here.
Yeah.
What we have here is a loss of faith. People just don't believe in one another anymore. And these conspiracy theories and these lies, they're working their way into all sectors of society. And that's dangerous for a civilized society that has to agree on a set of facts. If you and I can't agree on basic core facts, then what do we have? We have nothing. And that lack of faith that has been purposefully injected into this system can only lead to a dangerous place.
We talk about Republicans seem to be the lion's share of people who have questions about the election and election integrity.
Yep.
But you get this from the left as well.
We do. We do.
And what are they worried about? What are people from the left worried about?
Well, there's a group of folks that I encountered when I first became county recorder, before all this was a thing, early in 2017. And they're worried about, I can't remember the specific phrase, fractional math, fractional magic. And they talk about how in some circumstances you can kind of fraction out certain number of votes and create, and it was a really interesting argument. None of it really bore any real weight. But there have always been folks who haven't trusted the system, and that's okay.
From both sides.
From both sides. That's okay. The problem that I see right now, particularly, just to put a little bit of weight where it's due, is I think there's a lack of leadership on the political right to really shore up the confidence in these systems. Now, that's not to say they haven't tried. Bill Gates and Stephen Richer and Clint Hickman, names that a lot of people don't like, those guys are really earnest. And they try really hard. Now, that may not mean a lot coming from a Democrat.
Rusty Bowers.
But Rusty Bowers, his integrity is, beyond reproach. And he flat out said to the folks that called him, bring me the evidence. Show me the evidence. He did what a good American would do. He waited for the evidence, and it never showed up.
14th Amendment has been discussed.
Yeah.
Anything happening on that front?
Well, it's funny you should ask, because one of the big things about the 14th Amendment is Section 3 that indicates that if you participate or aid and abet in an insurrection or rebellion against the United States, after you've sworn an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution, you're no longer eligible for any office. Now, this is an old Civil War era thing that also includes the Privileges and Immunities Clause and some of the other clauses that make constitutional rights applicable in the states. It really nationalized a lot of our law. One of the big questions is whether a certain candidate, and I'll just say President Trump, is eligible under Section 3 to become a candidate or to hold the office of President of the United States. And a lot of the questions have fallen to our office as to whether or not we're going to make a determination about whether or not I can include him on the ballot or I'm going to certify him.
Doesn't this end up at the state Supreme Court? Something like a question like that?
Well, the question has been to the state Supreme Court, but the state Supreme Court, in a very crafty, I think, decision, said our determination is not a precedential one. It doesn't have precedent for the future. So it doesn't matter what they said. They're off the hook. The question falls to me then, whose names will I certify to be on the ballot on December the 14th? And looking at all of the statutes, we have this very unique thing called the Executive 2, the Article 2 Executive. The President of the United States has different requirements. You got to be 35 years or older, you got to be a natural-born citizen, etc. But folks are ignoring some of the other sections of the Constitution when they say under Section 3 he's disqualified. They're ignoring the Privileges and Immunities Clause, which means that courts or officials in certain states have to take on the rulings of other states. Well, they have to take on the rulings of other states. So if you have a divorce decree in Minnesota, it's got to be respected in Arizona. If you buy a car in Indiana, Arizona has to respect that.
What are you telling me here?
Well, what I'm telling you is there's also a state law that gives me direction based on what other states say. And it gives me a direct command. And it says that if a person applying for president of the United States has been included as a candidate in at least 2 other states, that I have to certify them for the ballot. And so my personal discretion, not my personal discretion, my official duty is dictated by that statute and the interplay of these other sections. Now, I've always been a voter first guy. I want the voters to be in charge of what happens. And the voters get to make the choices. They've made choices about me. They've made choices pro me and anti me. In this circumstance, it also fulfills that underlying principle that the voters will decide. And look, there's a lot of different views on this thing, but at the end of the day, having consulted with legal experts, having consulted with election experts, looking at the biggest objections to Mr. Trump, by the way, are from the conservative right and the Federalist Society guys. They do not want him on the ballot. But I'm sorry, I'm going to have to disappoint them, because that state statute that tells me that if between the application period, if Mr. Trump has qualified in 2 other states, I've got to certify him for the ballot.
He's going to be on the ballot.
And that's my duty. It may not be my political preference, but that's not relevant here. I can balance those two things and do my job according to the law, which is why I got elected.
So Trump would be on the ballot if it's your call?
If he applies during the right time, and he has already been a candidate on 2 other ballots in 2 other states, then
he's good.
I don't have a choice but to certify him, and I will do so.
One more. This No Labels Party, very interesting. State Democratic Party filed a lawsuit to try to knock them off the ballot, but they lost in court.
Yeah.
And then you had a question about whether candidates could kind of run under that party mantle.
Yeah. And
one of the actors doesn't like the no labels idea. He's kind of trying to undermine it. He's a guy running for Corporation Commission.
Right.
Richard Grayson. He's a Biden supporter. So you said no labels cannot knock them out, right? They've got to allow these guys to run.
Right, and the whole no labels thing is really funny. These guys want their cake and they want to eat it too. So they want me to certify them, which the Democratic Party, my party, doesn't like. They've sued me over it. But then they don't want, they think that I'm playing politics towards the Democrats when I allow somebody to run under their banner. And I've got news for the No Labels Party. You can't tell Arizona how things work. You can't tell us what our statutes say. If a member of the No Labels Party wants to run for office, I would never stand in their way. I would encourage more people
even
to
if
run
they're not really no labels.
If that's the party you're registered under, that's your party. I mean, let's be honest.
Crazy.
This is how democracy works. And
Well,
I can't get in the way of that because we have this First Amendment thing called the freedom of association. And you're free to associate with whomever you want. And if those guys want to run as no labels, if 18 other candidates want to run as no labels, if people want to become no labels PCs and organize a state party, the No Labels Party itself opened the door to all of this.
So your philosophy is more the merrier. You're not
more the merrier.
You're
Look,
going to lean on the side of not striking people.
People complain about the two-party system. We've got a third party. We've got a libertarian party. We've got all kinds of capacity to open up the doors and bring more people into our democracy, more views into our discussion. Why don't we do that?
There are 15,000 people who've registered now under no party, the no party labels. Umbrella.
They could have state representatives. They could have school board.
Exactly.
Well, not school boards. Those aren't.
But
partisan.
the Democrats have really hated this idea because they think that it's going to take away potentially from a Democratic candidate or Joe Biden. Well, where's the evidence that that would actually happen?
Well,
aren't there a lot of Republicans who would say, you know what, I'm sick of all this?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think there's plenty of MAGA Republicans who would rather not have a label than be under the Republican Party banner because a lot of those folks don't like the Republican Party. So why don't they register as no labels? The no labels opened up the little d Democratic Pandora's box when they became a party in Arizona. I certified them because they asked me to. By the way, here's an interesting quirk. Their petitions that they got people to sign off on say that they want to participate in the August primary. Well, guess what? That's not the presidential preference election in March. That's only state and local elections. So they actually told all of those folks, we want to be a regular state party with regular candidates across the board on their very own petitions. And now they want me to block people? They're crazy. And you know what? They want to say that I'm doing this for political reasons. They can go back to New York or wherever their high-priced lawyers got them from. I don't care.
The Marine in you still comes out.
Once in a while, John. Once in a while.
Adrian Fontes, Secretary of State, good to see you.
Always good to be here.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, and thank you for your service, as always.
Thanks.
We're back in a minute on Newsmaker Saturday.